everyone, and welcome. My name is Lori Rubin, and I've got Romeo Durscher here, who is just one of my favorite people. I've known Romeo for, gosh, I guess a couple years now when I was up in the Bay Area, but he's got a rich history working for NASA and also, recently joining DJI, who's, the premier drone company here as the director of education. So he's been traveling all over the world, getting on major newscasts and just everywhere. It's hard to find out where Romeo is. It's like I follow him on Facebook just to see what his new adventures are. So it's really exciting to have him here with us. And so what today is all about is ViewBug has a photo contest. It's called Above the Air, and it's also sponsored by Macphun software. And so what Romeo is going to do is we're going to go through some of the images that have been selected as interesting images that he'd like to talk about, and then we're going to show you the people's choice and then reveal the amateur winner and also the grand jury winner. So this is a reveal, but it's also about inspiring you folks when you go out and take those images, and what goes in the mind of a judge. What is he looking for? So I think this is going to be inspirational. It's going to be educational, but most of all, it's going to be a lot of fun because Romeo's a fun guy, and it's going to be a blast. So I can't wait to get started here. So Romeo, thank you so much for joining us today. Really glad to have you here.
Well, thank you, Laurie, and thank you to ViewBug for having me. This is actually really the first time I'm judging on a webinar, so this is quite exciting, and it's also very challenging because when you look at these entries, and every picture has something very beautiful to it, and some pictures catch your eye a little bit more than others, but just the fact that so many people submitted very amazing images is really overwhelming almost.
It is, and I got to see those images too, so I'm glad you were the one to pick them. So we're going to go ahead and show you some of these images here in just a moment. I do want to let you know too, hopefully you can see this, that there's also prizes. So when you go to enter these wonderful images onto ViewBug, you're going to get some great prizes. In this case, the grand jury winner is going to get a $100 B&H gift card and a Smug Mug Pro membership and a Macphun Creative Kit. And then we have a People's Choice and Amateur winner. So, besides having the accolade of being a winner and chosen, you also get some little prizes too, which is really nice. So thank you to Macphun and to ViewBug. Okay, Romeo, you ready to get started here?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, so what Romeo did, and we're going to start with this first slide here, he went through and he picked 6 different images that he thought, or 5 or so, that he thought were really interesting out of the bunch. He had about lots and lots of images to go through. So again, that was a real challenge, and kudos to you, Romeo, for being able to narrow it down. But we're going to go through a few of these images before we reveal the People's Choice and the amateur winner and the grand jury winner. And I'm really excited to hear, Romeo, your thoughts behind some of these images. And we'll start with this one. It's called Releasing the Ashes of the Fallen by Straight 8 Photo. So tell us a little bit about this one and why this caught your eye.
Yeah, first I have to say, when you first sent me the link to look at all the images, I saved the link offline because I was on a trip and in a particular area of the world where you don't have a lot of online access. So I really wanted to look at these images and go through them one by one. And let me tell you, I had to open that link several times and scroll through the pictures to pick my favorites because it really is not easy. But there are certain images where the content just touches you in one way or another. And this image here definitely was one of them. And there's so much in this picture that is really touching. First of all, the content. Releasing the ashes of the fallen, that by itself is already a very touching subject, and these guys, and maybe even a woman, I'm not quite sure, maybe they're all men, but they're doing something very special for one of their own, and that act alone is just touching, with the U.S. flag in the background. And to me, this image alone evoked, some sort of proudness, but also sadness at the same time. And then you look at the area where they're uh, skydiving right now. It's kind of a desert, but you have that green river that leads from one edge over to behind the group. There's just a lot of wonderful things in this image.
I agree, Romeo. This is, a very emotional storytelling type image, and a lot is going on, and you just kind of want to stay within this image and discover. You got the American flag there, which, by the way, how do they do that when they're, skydiving and having that flag unfurl like that, along with the ashes at the same time? So I agree. This is just a really lovely image, very emotional and very touching.
And
So.
and Laurie, there are certain pictures where it is a story, and you just want to know more about it. And this is definitely one of those images that is a story itself, taken at just one moment in time, but there's so much more to it, and it makes you want to learn more about the picture, the events that are unfolding right here. So this is definitely a very, very emotional image.
Absolutely. And technically well done too. Very,
Yes,
very well
this
done.
can be to,
Yeah.
to do all of this and then take a good shot.
Yep. Very good. Well, Straight 8 Photo, thank you very much for this image. It's just a really nice image. Okay, we're going to go to the next one here. This is called, is it Washu Clouds by Tiki Diane? And Romeo, why don't you tell us what caught your eye on this particular image?
What I noticed when I looked through the images, there were a lot of black and white images, and I have to tell you, I love black and white, especially um, one that has a little bit of a dark feeling to it. And this definitely, there's this storm cloud that seems to be coming here. It's dark and it's powerful, and I like the composition with the little tree on the left side, and just the way the sky is. To me, this is a really, really beautiful nature photography, and the cloud formation there is just, you just want to keep looking at that.
Absolutely. And in black and white too, converting to black and white, evokes a whole different emotion too. It's very dramatic, and it's kind of foreboding. So I think Tiki Diane, you did a great job in converting this to black and white instead of just leaving it a color. Sometimes color kind of draws our eye away from the actual subject, but this is beautifully done. It's really nice.
Totally. And
Hmm.
it gives the mood, it sets the mood.
Absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. And I love the contrast. You've got that tree in the lower right hand corner. You've got this cloud. So it kind of balances itself out a bit. So I like that contrast there. Very nice. Very
And
nice.
you know what, Laurie? I find it very fascinating that, the theme was above the air.
Hmm.
And I love how people took that theme and came up with their own interpretation of it.
Exactly. Isn't that interesting? I mean, as we were going through those images, we both had made mention of that. And that title, Above the Air, people interpret it to be however they interpret it. And you'll see as we go through these images that pretty much they're all uniquely different, which is really, I love that. That's really neat.
Yeah.
So that's a great point that you brought up there. Great image. Okay, so we can go to the next one here. This one doesn't really have a title, but it certainly has a story. So, Romeo, go ahead and tell us what you think about this one.
Oh, this one to me was just a very fun picture. I'm not quite sure what I like most. Probably that it's out of proportion, it looks like. So the fellow that is doing a wonderful backflip there, it looks like he came off the chair, but if you look at the proportion of everything, it may not be the case.
Hmm.
So for me, it kind of made me feel like summer party, having a good time at the beach, and it was just one of those fun pictures.
Definitely. I love the point of view. Like you said, you're kind of looking down and looking up It's a instead of just being straight on. So it's
Yeah.
different. It's very different. And you've got those little beer bottles there, so obviously they're having a good time. So it's summertime, having fun, and why not do a backflip off the lifeguard tower there? So very fun. And
Yeah,
again,
definitely very.
yeah, Romeo, this is again another black and white image. Interesting,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
It is. And you know what? It works really well for this because I can imagine that the color version was pretty blown out looking straight at the sun,
Hmm.
and converting it to black and white really works on this image. And I like it. I really do.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun image, that's for sure. Okay, we're going to take a look at this next one. This is a bald eagle, and again, untitled by Andfire 40. So,
Yeah, this, I kept looking at this picture because this was just shot at the perfect moment. The way this eagle is approaching here, just incredible.
mhm.
And I can only imagine the story behind the picture because you see it's snowing, it's cold, and whoever took Antfire 40, um, he must have been out in the cold, or she, we don't really know, must have been out in the cold for some time to capture this, and it was just shot perfectly.
Yeah, great moment with those wings, spread just like that. It's very unusual. I mean, to see the wings up like that, usually they're splayed out. So really, really great moment captured. So they had to be ready, to press the shutter there. But yeah,
Yeah, and you do a lot of animal
mhm.
photography, right?
Yes, I can appreciate this. That's a really good moment captured. And the fact that it's in the snow and the cold, like you said, also brings another element to this particular image. It would have been great, capturing this eagle if it was a bright, nice, blue, sunny day. But being in the snow just gives it that extra element. That's really nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like the eagle is out for prey and it's about survival in the cold and harsh conditions and environment.
yeah.
And yet it's so graceful how it's about to descend and seems like it's coming down for a landing or for a capture of a prey. It's
Yeah.
and the expression, it's just wonderful to see.
Absolutely. And its eyes. I mean, he's definitely looking at something. His body's pointing one way and his face or his eyes turned the other way. So maybe there's some kind of rabbit or something running along and he's waiting to scoop it up. So definitely love this one. That's really nice. Good pick, Romeo. Okay, we're gonna take a look at this one. Here's another fun one called Steve Flying, Not Levitation by Philip French. So he wants to make sure we know he's not just levitated. This guy probably jumped off a stump. So tell us what you think about this one, Romeo.
This is another one of those creative, fun pictures. Um, I had to really smile when I saw this, and also by the title. Um, Steve is definitely in a perfect flying position here, and I'm curious how many shots it took to get this perfect pose and combination of ground and Steve flying and soaring through the air. I like the head. That adds to the picture,
Yeah,
and the fact that he puts his arms behind his back and curves the body. I really like that. And then the other thing I like is the post editing of it. So you have, the background blurred out. The colors are a little bit on the dim side, which just adds some additional mood to it.
absolutely. Yeah, you can't help but not smile when you look at this. I also love the way he crossed his feet. Everything about him is, he's out to just fly. So it's entertaining. And, again, getting that perspective where the photographer wasn't standing. I mean, they were probably kneeling down, it looks like, and looking a little bit up. So you get that different perspective, which is really nice. And he's up against the sky. So there's nothing interfering with you really seeing this person flying. So, yeah, I think it's delightful. Very, very nice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, before we start, we're going to get into the people's choice next, but I want to ask Romeo, when you're looking through, all these images and you're scrolling through, what is it that makes you stop on a particular image? is there something special? Is it the subject or the color or how they did the post processing? Is there something that you can kind of pinpoint, or is it just you can't explain it?
You know, that's a good question, Laurie, and I think it's different for every person, and it's also different depending on your mood. Um, I can look at a picture one day and not like it, but the following day I may really like it, depending on my mood. But um, the things that I personally enjoy are when the photographer is creative, does something different than what you would expect. Like in this image, um, it may not be different to see somebody just jumping through the air, but the position of the body and what was done in post-editing, that really stood out to me. And also the theme above the air, and you see this picture, that by itself is really funny.
It is.
So those are the things that I like to see when looking at pictures. And then of course colors. Colors can really bring out an emotion in you, and you stop and look at a picture. The composition, of course, that's something that's very important. And I love when there are fun elements in a picture. That definitely makes me want to look a little closer.
Definitely. Very good. Okay, well, we're going to reveal the People's Choice. This was actually posted already on ViewBug, but beautiful image. I mean, Romeo, talk about this one.
You know, I love airplanes, and I love looking at airplanes. I love flying airplanes and seeing this FA-18 from the Blue Angels and the position it is in. You can see the condensation building up. This is just one amazing shot. I'm really curious where Snake Pass took this picture from, because it's almost eye level.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Was he in the other Blue Angels jet? you know, or is this a composite maybe against clouds? So that's a really good question.
But it's amazing. I once saw the Blue Angels in San Francisco, and it's incredible to see these machines fly low, and it's extremely difficult to take a good image. And this one, I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. It definitely, as you're scrolling through the images, you stop on this one because you really want to see more. So very, very good. So congratulations, Three Wire Images, for your People's Choice Award. I should have some clapping in the background, like a little applause. Yay! Okay, so we're going to reveal next. This is the amateur winner, and Romeo picked this one out. The amateur winner. This is Up and Over by Johnny Williams. So, great image. Romeo?
Yeah, Johnny, you did a really nice job in capturing this shot, and then also in converting it to black and white, and it looks like there's some HDR going on as well that bring out the formation flying with the smoke. I really like this shot a lot. There's just so much detail in the smoke that makes you look closer.
Definitely, and what a great formation. It's nice and tight, and getting that particular peak of action as they're coming up over the loop, and like you said, those beautiful defined clouds really are very eye catching. And I'd be curious to see this one in color too, because it looks like this is probably the Blue Angels again. I would imagine against a blue sky might be kind of neat. But again, that black and white really brings out those clouds. Very nice. So Romeo, when you're going
Yeah.
through these images, was it those clouds? Did that catch your eye right up front? I mean, were you you just kind of stopped and you went, "Wow"? What was your reaction when you first saw this?
This was very early on one of my top picks, and I think it really is the way the smoke and the clouds form and the detail in it, and it's like it's just beautiful. It's a perfect capture, perfect moment. It was captured. They come out of the loop. Yeah, when I first saw it, I did take a double take on it.
Yeah, And I think that's key when you say wow. You know, you make somebody stop in their tracks when they look at your image, and this is definitely one of those. So congratulations, Johnny Williams, for your amateur winner. Okay, now we're going to go for the final one. This is going to be the grand jury winner. Everybody ready? Okay, here we go. This is Adam Oy Photography. And okay, Romeo, tell us why you selected this as your grand jury winner.
Yeah, this to me is another one of those creative, fun pictures, um, and it's in black and white. Did you notice that there are a lot of black and white images that really stood out?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on this particular one, you know, the first sensation I had looking at this was, okay, how is this possible? And it felt to me like, I don't know if you've ever watched the TV series Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But this woman to me is like part of this show, and she's just like elevating off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoyed the composition of this, the creativity behind it. It's just a fun picture.
Yeah, and it kind of epitomizes the title, Above the Air, right? Because she is definitely above, and it looks like she's levitating. So this is a great image. I notice also, Romeo, I don't know if you noticed there too, but the shadow makes it
Yeah.
more realistic. They remembered to put a shadow in there. And yeah, it's really interesting. And again, this is a black and white image, and a lot of these were black and white. So somehow black and white kind of evokes above the air somehow. So, but it's very, very nice. And yeah, congratulations. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a fun composition, and definitely there was some post editing done. But you know, if you're creative and you make it look, you know, interesting, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Absolutely. So, you know, it's interesting. So, Romeo, you picked, I'm going to go through real quick. These were some of the ones that you had, you know, selected a very poignant moment here. It's in color from a dramatic sky. You've got a fun image of somebody, you know, leaping into the sand to an animal, you know, an eagle. These are all different. They're all unique. And I think you just said it really well for each of these. There's something about each of these images that just really stood out. And so, can you give any words of advice for people that you know they're entering some contests? And so, for someone like you who is judging, any kind of hints or suggestions maybe that they could do for the next time?
Well, from my perspective, and again, every judge is different. Everybody who looks at a picture has a different preference. But to me, if you're creative and if you play around with your image a little bit, that makes already a big difference. Especially when you have a theme that is as broad as Above the Air. When you first told me about the theme, in my head, I imagined aerial photography. Because of course, you know, working for a drone company and doing aerial photography myself, that was my mindset, that a lot of people would submit aerial images. And then when I saw the different contributions and that most of them were actually either ground-based images or then a few that were perhaps taken in an airplane, I was quite amazed at how others take a certain theme and run with it. And most of them were actually very creative. Like in my selection, there are 3 images where there is a person jumping through the air. And I just think if you're creative, you already, you know, add something special to your image.
Very well said. Absolutely. Very good. So, where can they find more information about you, Romeo? You know, you're on Skypixel. You're one of the experts on Skypixel for your above the air flying.
Yes. Well, I do use Skypixel.com because that's our DJI platform to share aerial photography. I love doing aerial panoramas. So that's something that I totally enjoy. And I try to share my art and my images through several outlets like Skypixel. I, of course, use Twitter as well, and or visual-aerials.com is the website that my very good friend Mark and I run to help people with reviews, with tips and tricks, how to get into aerial photography. Because we're seeing some incredible art done with unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. And to me, that's really, really exciting to see how others take, the technology and use this extended tripod in the air and create images of a location that we may have seen hundreds of pictures before on an eye level view, but 50 feet above or 100 feet above, it just looks so differently.
Yeah, it really does open up a whole different world of photography, which is so exciting. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and special thanks to Romeo for picking these wonderful images and letting us see a little bit of inside your thoughts behind why you picked these particular images.
Thank you, Laurie, and thank you, ViewBug, and thanks to everyone who submitted images. Keep submitting, and hopefully a different category may bring more challenges to you and your camera.